Now, enough of the pictures. I'm going to show you pictures of the characters in the world, that what I want my world to look like. But now, enough of the pictures. I'm going to talk about what I'm going to talk about the console art. So once me and my wife settled in Vancouver and we made plans to start a Skyscraper company, we hired George Lucas. We built our building for our office and special effects team. We bought a jet, bought our yacht. You know what I'm saying? Bought our clothes. Built a $100 million con. We take our next vacation off. We hired a 17 doc team and all them. It's the first year of Last Hope for Xanus. Right, I'm gonna talk about me and my wife. I'll be working on my script also. Again, it'll take me a good 10 months to write all 3 volumes. For my book, for my Xanus script, you're looking at like a 650 page script. You're looking at something longer than the Lord of the Rings movies. Even though Lord of the Rings is a longer series than Last Hope for Xanus, because Peter Jackson only followed 20% of the book, you only got like a 9-hour series. Whereas because I'm gonna follow 70% of 70% of the book, you're looking at a longer movie than even Lord of the Rings. You're looking at a 12-hour movie, man. There's a good chance it might even be 14 hours, but the editors are gonna have to condense it down to 12 hours because 14 hours is too long, obviously. Right. So so I'll be working on my script at first. My wife will make business calls for some of the main stuff. And every day, 5 days a week, me and my wife and 2 script developers and assistant director will be doing the console arts. Again, the 2 console arts I'm going to hire are the console arts I'm going to hire. I want John Howe, Alan Lee, and the console arts who worked on Avatar to do the world building. And I'm going to tell them what I want my world to look like. They're responsible for all the world building for my movie. And the console artists who drew the boss orc in Lord of the Rings. The console art who drew the boss orc in Lord of the Rings and the It movie that came out in 2017. I want those guys responsible for the characters. But I want Ephesus and the Bats to be a hybrid of the devil in Annabelle and the boss orc in Lord of the Rings. That way he looks you're looking at somebody that way he looks frightening, obviously. It's 3 times scarier. And I want the Aratat to look something like Pennywise the Clown, 3 times scarier. Right? So the console artists I want to hire, I told you, I want John Howe, Alan Lee, the console who drew for Avatar, responsible for the world building, obviously. And I want the console artist who drew for the boss orc in Lord of the Rings and the It movie that came out in 2017. I want Aratat to look like 21 Clown except 3 times scarier. So Aratat is not a mass. He's not a werewolf. And he's not a wolf on 4 legs. No, he's a hybrid of a human and a wolf. So he's an animal, but he has like human features. That's my point. You know how the orcs have some human features, but they're fucking orcs? No, that's a similar example for Aratat. Aratat is a wolf, but he has human features. I don't want him looking like a werewolf, and I don't want him looking like a wolf on 4 legs. Otherwise, you're looking at a fluff. And I don't want Ephesus to look like a vampire. I want Ephesus. Ephesus will look a little bit like a vampire, but I don't want Ephesus to look like a vampire. No. Ephesus is not a vampire. He's a bat, but he has human features, obviously. He's a devil. He's a devil bat, obviously. I'll show you an idea what I'm talking about later on in this video. Right? So the 2 cons. So once me and my wife fly into concerts, again, you can pay the concert artists a nice $150,000. I only need to hire 5 concert artists. 5 concert artists is enough. So every day, 5 days a week in the afternoon, me and my wife, after lunch, me and my wife and 2 script developers will drive to the office building. I'll have my building right next to my office. Every day for 5 days a week, me and my wife in the afternoon, and the 2 script developers, we head on to the other office, right? The other building, the building where the special effects team work, and that's where me and my wife and the console artists will be building the world of the North and the South. Like, and I gave you guys an idea of my world. You already know how much my world is. The console artists are going to be building the world of the North, the South, and the lands. So John Howe, Alan Lee, and the console artists who drew for Avatar, they'll be busy building the world of the North and the South. I'll tell them my ideas, obviously, and they're going to draw. And the console artists who are responsible for the characters, they're going to be responsible for drawing all the characters, obviously. The characters is the more interesting part because that's when you're going to see how horrific all these beings are. And the document will be filming some of this, but I'm going to have the doc team block the concept art image of the characters. That way it builds excitement for the world, obviously. Because that way it builds more excitement for the world. So you won't see Aratat's face until the trailers. So it'll build excitement for the world, obviously. And that's why I don't want to hear that free money bullshit, obviously. It'll build excitement for the world. hence why Last of Us will be the best story told. Again, I showed you pictures of that actor, Joseph Takis first. Oh my god, he's perfect for the role of Ivan's father. Yeah, and hence why Last of Us aims to be the best story told, as I know what I'm doing, as I chose the perfect actors. I know what I'm doing, obviously. Right? So I'm gonna tell I'll start off with the world building. So for the world building, I'm gonna tell the concept artists, I'm gonna tell John Howe, Alan Lee, and the concept artists who drew for Avatar, I'm gonna tell them I'm gonna start with Xanus. So for the land of Xanus, I want Xanus to look something like Rivendell. I want Xanus to look something like Rivendell, except I want it to look original, obviously. But I want Xanus to be something like Rivendell. So for the world building of Xanus, I want it to be something like Rivendell, except don't copy the Lord of the Rings movie, obviously, but have it original, obviously. But I want the world to look something like Rivendell, obviously. Right. So my world of Xanus, I'll show you pictures here. My world of Last of Us Xanus, I want it to look something like this. Something like Rivendell. I'll show you pictures here. The world of Xanus, I want it to be something like this. I'm going to tell the concept artists I want the North, I want Xanus to be something like Rivendell. So my world of Xanus will look something like this. A beautiful world, 8K world, except looking more natural. So picture something like Rivendell for Lord of the Rings movies, except 3 times better because technology has increased over the years. Because Lord of the Rings was made over 20 years ago. Lord of the Rings was made over 20 years ago and you got a nice world building like that. Well, imagine now in the 2020s with better technology. I'm putting more money into the movie. You're looking at something even better than Rivendell, what you got for Lord of the Rings movies. So I'm going to tell the concept artists for the world building, I want Xanus to be something like Rivendell. I'll show you more pictures here. Right? I want Xanus to be something like Rivendell. See what I'm saying here? Here's another picture. I want Xanus to be something like this. The line of Xanus to be something like this. Like Rivendell. Obviously. And there's a big wall. I want the big wall to be something like Helm's Deep. You know how Helm's Deep you had that wall? Well, you have something in Xanus called the Wall of Xanus. I forgot to mention this in my video. Hence why I have such deep world building. I forgot to mention in Xanus you have a huge 100 feet. You have a huge 100 feet wall that surrounds Xanus and it protects the Xanus from the wolves. Obviously, I forgot to mention that in my last video. So I'm going to tell the concept artists I want Xanus to be something like Rivendell. Make the land original, make it your own, but I want it to be something similar like Rivendell. For what? For the North, obviously. I'll show you more pictures. See the picture here with Frodo? I want Xanus to be something like this. Like the Lord of the Rings movie, like a beautiful world like this. And that's why Last of Us will be the best story told. Because I'm putting so much money towards world building, $380 million towards special effects, and 30 million, I don't know, 35 million towards supplement. You're looking at something unheard of. My world will look more natural. Yes, even much better than the Lord of the Rings movie, obviously. I'll show you more pictures here. I want what? I want Xanus to be something like this. To look something like what? Like Rivendell. The Rivendell world in Lord of the Rings. That's why Last of Us Xanus will be what? You have the River of Tinus that flows to the city's edge. You're looking at something top notch, man. That's why my movie will be the best story ever told in motion picture, obviously. Yeah, for the city's edge, think something like this. Like a beautiful, because there's a waterfall at the city's edge. You have blue grass and colorful trees. Think something like this for the city's edge. Something top notch is that for the city's edge. And that's why my story will be an amazing story, obviously. Right? For Cyrus, I want it to be something like the Shire. So I'm gonna tell John Howe, Alan Lee when I fly him to when I fly into Vancouver. Again, I'll have them stay at a hotel. For a couple months because the concert artists will only take a couple months. I'll have them stay at a hotel for a couple months in Vancouver. Pay them a nice $1,000 for the tour of the movie to draw for your movie, obviously. The concert artists responsible for the world building. I'm gonna tell them for the Land of Stars, I want it to be something like the Shire. I'm going to show you pictures of the Shire. So think something like this for the Shire. Think something like this for Saphius, for the land of Cyrus. Sorry. Think something like this for the land of Cyrus. Right. You see how you have that farm look? Think something like that for the land of Cyrus, where Papyra and Sirius are from. That's what I want the land of Cyrus to look like. I want the land of Cyrus to be something like this. But again, I want the land to be original. Make it original. Don't copy Lord of the Rings, obviously. But I want it to be something similar like this. The land of Cyrus, think something like this for my movie, where Papyri and Sirius are from. Think something like that for the land of Cyrus. I'm going to tell the consorts I want Cyrus to be something like the Shire. So think something like that for the Shire. You're looking at an unheard of world building, man. Right? And pay them a nice $150,000. That way they all work hard for you and get good world building from them. Obviously. Yeah, here's another picture. Picture something like this for the land of Cyrus. Where Sirius of Empire from. You're looking at something. That's what seems to be the best story ever told, man. Because you guys already have an idea of my world that I created. And if you apply this to the big screen, you're looking at something unheard of for my movies, man. And that's why Xanus will be the best story ever told, man. You know what I'm saying? Right? I'll show you one more picture and I'll stop with with pictures of Cyrus here. There's other pictures I can show you. You're looking at a beautiful world, man. So picture something like Lord of the Rings, except it's 3 times better because I'm putting more money into the movie. I'm putting more money into the movie and what? And technology has gotten better over the last 20 years, obviously. Whereas Lord of the Rings was made in the early 2000s. Now we're in the 2020s. Technology has gotten much better since then, obviously. And I'm putting unheard amount of money into the movie. And that's why I look at something better than Lord of the Rings. If it's done right. If it's not done right, it will not be better than Lord of the Rings. It'll be a flop. It will flop. It would be not bad, but it wouldn't be better than Lord of the Rings if we don't put a lot of money into it. Obviously. Yeah, think something like this for Land of Cyrus, man. Like a nice, Cyrus is a beautiful land, but it's not as beautiful as Sapphius and Xanus. Think something like this for Land of Cyrus. And that's what I'm going to tell the console artists that. I'm going to tell John Howe, Alan Lee, and the consoles you for Avatar. I'm going to tell them I want my world to look. I want Cyrus to be something like what? The Shire. Make it original, but have it look something like the Shire. For the world of Xanus, I want it to make it original, but have it look something like Rivendell. That way you get a beautiful world. Because the North is holy, so you're expecting the land to be what? Very, very beautiful. Because the North is holy, you're expecting it to look something like Rivendell. Because Rivendell looks like a holy land, obviously. Whereas the South is cursed, obviously, right? The South is cursed. Obviously. Right. For the land of Sapphius, I'm going to tell John Howe. So when we're in that room, I'm going to tell John Howe, Alan Lee, and the concept for Avatar, I want the Shire to be something like Gondor. It's a blacksmith city. So think something like Shire is the Sapphius is known as a stone blacksmith city. So I want it to be something like Gondor, except make it original. So make it original, but have it look something like Gondor. Right. So if you're wondering what if you're wondering what Sapphius will look like, think something like Gondor for the land of the blacksmiths. That's what. Don't hate me, I'm saying. That's what I want my world to look like, obviously. Yeah, think something like this for Land of the Blacksmiths. You see how Gondor is a stone city? Think something like this for the land of the blacksmith Sapphius. So Sapphius will look something like Gondor. I'm going to tell them I want Sapphius to be something like Gondor, and it's a blacksmith city. That's what Sapphius will look like. Where Lithia, Eli, and Job and all them are from. Think something like that for what? For the land of the blacksmith Sapphius. I'm going to tell the consorts, I want Sapphius to be something like Gondor. It's a stone city, obviously. A blacksmith city, you expect it to be a stone city, obviously. Right? Those are top notch, man. And that's why what? My movie will be what? The best story ever told, a motion picture, obviously. Right? This is unheard of, man. Right? See if I can find more pictures here. Yeah, here's more pictures. Yeah, picture something like this for the land of Blacks is where Eli's from. Eli and Lithia and all of them are from. Think something like this for the land of Sapphius. Right? And that's why for the console will be fun, because building your world and for the lands and all the characters is fucking, It's fucking amazing. Imagine applying that to applying the rule of Xanus on the big screen. You have the North. The North is not cursed. It's holy. Think of something like Rivendell for the North, and you have the South. You have the land of Cyrus. That looks like the Shire. You have the land of Savage with something like Gondor, and you know what I'm saying. Barak is something like Isengard. It looks like top notch, yeah. I'll show you more pictures. Right. Here's a nice picture here. Yeah, picture something like this for Safius, man. The land of the blacksmiths. You see that picture there, like Gondor. That's the kind of world you're looking at for what my Last of Us movie, obviously, for the world of Safius, a stone blacksmith city. And that's why Last of Us would be the best story ever told. Yes, even better than Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings has better world building, obviously, but Last of Us has better. So my world building is amazing. It's almost as good as Lord of the Rings, but nothing can top Lord of the Rings world building. As J.R. Tolkien, his world building is so deep and it's so in depth. Nothing can top that. But the story of Last of Us tops Lord of the Rings story, and hence why it'll be a better story if it's done right and you apply it onto the big screen. Obviously. Let's talk about what? Let's talk about Barak. Barak is known as a barren wasteland. There's a bunch of tents where the wolves sleep and all that stuff. But Barak thinks something like Isengard. Think something like Isengard for Barak. Yeah, this is a perfect example here. You see this picture here? You see how it looks barren? Think something like this. Think something like this for Barak, except take away the tower. Think something like that. Think something like this for Barak, where Eretat lives, and it's cursed, obviously. Think something like this for Barak. So picture something like this for Barak, except there's no towers, obviously. Eretat lives in his royal tent. Think something like this for the land of Barak. I'm going to tell John Howe and Alan Lee, and it costs you for Avatar, I want Barak to look something like Isengard. Except make it original. Don't copy Lord of the Rings. Make it original, but have it look similar to the lands that were created for the Lord of the Rings movies, obviously. So I want Barak to look something like Isengard. And hence why you're looking at the best story ever told, man. Looking at amazing. Here's another picture. Think something like this for the land of Barak. Because Barak is known as a barren wasteland. Think something like this for where Eretat and all the demon wolves live. Think something like that for the land of Barak. Obviously. I'm going to tell the consorts, I want Barak to be something like Isengard. That way you get unheard of world building, obviously. Right? For the ancient Gilead city, think something like Moria. Where Ephesus lives, obviously, right? Think something like Moria, where Ephesus lives, for the ancient Gilead city. Yeah, think something like this. You see this? Think something like this for the ancient Gilead city. It's where Ephesus lives. See that? Think something like that for where Ephesus lives. So think something like Moria in Lord of the Rings, except it's a cavern. The ancient Gilead city is a cavern. So it looks it's a city, but it has like a cavey appearance, obviously. So something like Moria, except it's slightly different, obviously, and it looks. I'm gonna tell them, make sure you make it original. Don't copy. You can't copy the movie, obviously. Copy what was in the movie, but make it original, obviously. So you're looking at something unheard of for the land of Moria. See this picture here with Gandalf? Picture something like this for what? For the ancient Gilead city, man. Remember when the fellowship crossed the Moria and Fellowship of the Ring. Well, think something like that for when where Tacius, his cousins and friends, and all of Safius journey through the ancient Gilead city. Obviously. Right? So picture something like this. For the For the ancient Gilead city. And the scene when all of Safius exits. There's some noise upstairs. There's someone upstairs. The scene of Safius. The scene when Safius in the book when Safius exits Safius. I won't spoil the story for you. Think something like Moses. Remember in Prince of Egypt when Moses and all the Egyptians, when Moses freed the Hebrew slaves and they exited Egypt. Well, think something like that for what? For the scene when the Sapiens all and Takis and all them, they all journey through the cursed mountains with the mosquitoes and jaguars, and they journey through the ancient Gilead city like Moria. Things that's why Xanus will be the best story ever told. So think something like imagine thousands of people journeying through this cursed mountain with the jaguars and mosquitoes that bite people, and they all journey through Moria. Through the ancient Gilead city like Moria, and you have the Ephesus and the devil beings that live there. Yeah, man. And that's why Last of Us will be the best story ever told, man. It was being unheard of. So I'm going to tell the console artists I want the ancient Gilead city to be something like Moria. Make it original as your own, obviously, because you don't want to copy Lord of the Rings, obviously. But I want it to be something like Moria. Tell them that way they know, obviously. Hence why Last of Us is the best story told. And hence why if you apply the base, you look at something better than Lord of the Rings. You're looking at something better than Lord of the Rings, man. Right? See if there's more pictures to show you here. You guys already know what Moria looks like. Most of you guys have seen the movie, obviously. But like you're looking at something unheard of. Obviously. You're looking at something unheard of for Moria. Yeah, you see that? There's not that much Moria pictures here, but I mean, I already shown you two pictures. You guys are getting an idea how what Moria looks like, obviously. But you look at something top notch. Yeah. Yeah. I only just show you more pictures for Moria. But you guys are getting an idea how top notch my world will be. Right? So you have the world of Xanus. Right? That looks like Rivendell. The north looks like Rivendell, obviously, except it's original, obviously. You have Saphis, it looks like Gondor, except it's original, obviously. Imagine that for my movie, obviously. That's why Xanus will be the best story told. You have Saris, which looks something like the Shire, where Sirius was pirate from. You have the ancient Gilead city that looks like Moria. That's where Ephesus and all them live, and the evil demon bats live. And you also imagine you have the Exodus of Saphis, 5,000 people journeying through this cursed ancient Gilead city like Moria. That's why Xanus will be the best story told. Picture someone like Prince of Egypt, except it's horror. Obviously, you have devil bats. And you also have Barak, that's something like Isengard, a barren land. That's where Eretat lives. Eretat is abomination, and all the wolves live. Hence why you're looking at for the angel and the best story told, man. Obviously. Now for the Forest of Galathea, think something like, I don't know. Think something cursed. It's not like Fungoon Forest, because Fungoon Forest doesn't feel cursed, obviously. For the Forest of Galathea, think something like, for the Forest of Galathea, I'll have them, what? For the Forest of Galathea, it's a cursed, it has 100 feet tall trees, man. So think of a cursed forest, obviously. It's a forest that's cursed, obviously. Yeah, here's a good picture. Can't really see that well, though. The Forest of Galathea has 100 feet tall trees. So it's really, really what? It's really, but like Forest of Galathea, I'll have John lead them just have their own ideas, and I'll just tell them, hey man, I want the forest to be cursed, and I want the trees to be 100 feet tall. Tell them that way they know. And the Valley of the Dark is dark, and it's evil, obviously. It's very evil, obviously. Yeah. I don't know what I want the forest to look like, but the Forest of Galathea is obviously cursed. Obviously. Yeah. Think something like this for the Forest of Galathea, man. Picture something like this, except 100 feet tall trees. And the Forest of Galathea is cursed, and that leads to the Valley of the Dark, where you feel the evil of the darkness. And once you pass that valley, you're now in Barak, and that's where Eretat lives. And that's why what? Xanus will be what? The best story ever told. One of them, not the best story ever told. Motion picture, obviously. The Valley of the Dark, think something cursed, obviously. A dark, cursed valley. Here's a good picture here. It's a valley that's dark and you feel the evil of the darkness. So imagine applying it onto the screen. This is something unheard of, man. A dark, cursed valley. Yeah, think of something like this, man. With the Valley of the Dark. You see that? A cursed valley. So once you pass the cursed forest, you pass through this cursed valley that where you feel the evil of the darkness. And once you pass that valley, you're now in Barak. And that's where Eretat and all the demon wolves live. That's why you're looking at what? The what? Best story told the Muslim picture, obviously. Here's another picture. So I'm going to tell John Howe and Alan Lee and the other concept artists who drew for Avatar, I want the cursed valley to be dark. I want it to be a valley where you feel the evil of the darkness. I want to feel cursed, obviously, to be a cursed valley. I don't know what ideas I have for that. I'll figure it out when I do the concept arts. But for those 5 worlds that I mentioned, I want them looking like those lands in Lord of the Rings, like I just mentioned. So I want Xanus looking like Rivendell, the north looking like Rivendell. It's a holy terrain, obviously. The south, right? I want Cyrus to look like the Shire. I want Savage to look like Gondor. I want the ancient villages here to be somewhere like Moria. And I want Barak to be somewhere like Isengard. That way the concept artists know when they start drawing what? Your world. And that's why I look at something top notch in my movie, obviously. Right. Now the Valley of the Blood is the Valley of the Blood is a land. What? It's a cursed land. Also, it's a bridge between the north and the south. A lot of wars have been fought there, and there's a lot of dead skeletons on in the valley. There's a lot of both bats, wolves, and humans, because a lot of wars have been fought at the Blood Valley for hundreds of years, obviously, and the Blood Valley is a bridge between the north and the south, obviously. 27 minutes. I'll end the video in 30 minutes, and another part I'll end the video here. Now let's talk about the characters. Okay, so John Howe, Alan Lee, and the concepts who drew for Avatar, they'll be responsible for the world building. Again, I gave you guys an idea of what I want my world to look like. Obviously, now the other two concepts who are responsible for drawing the characters, so Ephesus, Eretat, Fu, Morale, and all of them, as well as the wolves and the bats. For Ephesus, I'll start off with Ephesus. For Ephesus, I want him to be a hybrid of the boss orc in Lord of the Rings and that devil and Annabelle. So I'll show you the boss orc. I'm going to tell him, hey, I want Ephesus to look something like that boss orc in Lord of the Rings, a hybrid of the boss orc in Lord of the Rings and that devil being an Annabelle, except 3 times scarier than all those beings in those movies. Because I want them to be devils, obviously. That's what they know. Obviously. So I'll show you the boss orc in what? Lord of the Rings, obviously. Right. So I want Ephesus to be what? To look something like the boss orc in Lord of the Rings, obviously. A hybrid of the boss orc. And see how scary that is? Imagine somebody 3 times scarier than that. I want Ephesus to be 3 times scarier than the boss orc in Lord of the Rings. But I want him to be a hybrid of the boss orc in Lord of the Rings and the demon and the devil being an Annabelle. You see how creepy this is? You see how creepy that is? Oh, imagine a bat 3 times scarier than that, man. Hence why Eretat will what? I mean, Ephesus will be what? The most horrific being movie history. So not only will Eretat be horrific, Ephesus will be horrific. As you're looking at the devil himself on the big screen, obviously. Right. And hence why I'm not a fan of full-on CG, because if you have full-on CG, they'll look cheesy. Whereas you have them wear a mask, and you apply the special effects towards a heavy mask, they'll look more natural, hence they'll be more scary, obviously. So I'm going to tell the concept artists who are responsible for characters, I want Ephesus to look something like that boss orc in Lord of the Rings, as well as that devil in Annabelle. I'll show you what I mean by that. Right. So I want Ephesus to look something like that boss orc in Lord of the Rings, as well as a hybrid of what? The devil being an Annabelle. You see this? I want Ephesus to look something like this devil being in Annabelle, as well as like the boss, like a hybrid of both these guys. See how freaky that is? Ephesus will look something like this, and a hybrid of the boss of Lord of the Rings, except 3 times scarier than what you see here. Hence why you're looking at literal devils on the screen, man. You look at something so fucking scary, yeah, man. You're looking at what? Devils on the big screen, obviously. Right. And hence why Last of Us Xanus will be what? The best story ever told in motion picture. Obviously. Yeah. See how freaky that is, man? Imagine a bat 3 times scarier than this. I'm looking like a hybrid of the boss over Lord of the Rings. See how creepy that is? Imagine something 3 times scarier than this, man. You're looking at demons and devils on the big screen. And that's why Last of Us Angels will be the best story ever told. So picture something like Moria when the Saphians journey through the cursed mountains. I want to kill the sword for you. And imagine 5,000 people journeying through what? Journeying through the ancient Gilead city like Moria. So picture something like Lord of the Rings when they journey through what Moria, except you have 5,000 people, Tacius and 5,000 people journeying through the ancient Gilead city, something like Moria, and that's where he feasts the devil being is. Obviously, the devil being lives as well as his bat army. That's why Last of Us is looking at what the best story ever told, man. And you have this creepy scene where they have 3 rooms. Papyri goes in one room, Tacius goes in another room, Cassius goes in another room, and the rooms are dark. I want to spoil a story for you. And that's why Last of Us will be the best story ever told. Show my camera up here.